The James Bond movies are set in a terrifying universe, perpetually teetering on the brink of Armageddon, only to be snatched from the edge by a drunken sex addict armed with the world's smallest pistol and a magazine full of subpar puns.
Hang on, James.
The thought had occurred to me.
Now, I'm not going to pretend I'm the first person to notice that James Bond screws a lot. I am, if I've counted correctly, the third person to notice. But using booze and meaningless sex to deal with job stress is taking Bond to stranger places than you may realize. A study from the Medical Journal of Australia found that Bond consumed 109 strong drinks over the course of his 24 films, most of which take place just over the course of a few days. Plus, those are only the drinks we see on screen. He presumably pounds even more while birding his hotel room, taking a dump, or staring off into the middle distance, wondering how the hell he ended up being in A View to Kill. Meanwhile, a British Medical Journal study found that in Fleming's 12 novels, Bond consumes a staggering 92 units of alcohol a week. At one point, he manages 50 units of alcohol in a single day. That's well over 4 times the recommended maximum for men. Of the 87 days where he has an opportunity to drink, i.e. when he's not being dangled over an island fortress pool full of hungry sharks, he only had 12 sober days. Anything to dampen the effect of shark pool-related flashbacks, I guess.
Sharks with frickin' laser beams attached to their heads.
The BMJ concluded that Bond is at serious risk of drinking himself into an early grave. Though to be fair, he presumably drinks far more during stressful missions where he's already being shot at and slapped in the balls anyways. Maybe he only has V8 weeks where he just does a lot of paperwork. But still, how would 92 units of alcohol a week affect his super spy performance? Like many British measurements, a unit is weird and tough to perfectly quantify, like using stones for weight or bollocks for courage. But anyway, beer and wine glasses tend to have 2 or 3 units, while a highball often tends to have 1.5. So could you drink 30 large glasses of wine, 46 beers, or 61 whiskey sours in a single week? Could you manage 33 rum and cokes in a single day? Could you also do that while getting through a work shift? A work shift that's only successful if you single-handedly prevent the planet from being lasered into a fireball by a space satellite? That's what I thought. The International Shooting Sport Federation recommends professional gun boys have no more than 2 drinks a day and to avoid alcohol entirely 48 hours before an event. Any more than that and your odds of being a good shooter get, well, shot. Drunkenness decreases your attention span, reaction time, dexterity, and concentration. Hangovers add tremors alongside light and sound sensitivity to all those debuffs. In other words, anytime Bond is off screen, he's presumably vomiting his way through firefights, steadying himself with one hand and shielding himself from the sun with the other. And he wouldn't be hitting much. YouTuber James Reeves used drunk goggles to simulate shooting while hammered. In the video, he struggled to load his gun, let alone hit a stationary defenseless target a few feet in front of him. Bond isn't gonna drink himself to death, because the first teetotaler he fights will easily put a bullet in him while he lies on the floor comatose covered in piss and puke. Oh, and forget driving. A daily drinking session of 6.5 beers, even relatively weak ones, would routinely push Bond's blood alcohol level over 0.10%. At 0.10%, you struggle to talk, let alone drift a Rolls Royce. Even if Bond's spacing his drinks out, he's still gonna be constantly buzzed. We do see Bond drunkenly wipe out in Casino Royale, but realistically, even his leisurely drive should end in a 50 Ferrari pileup. And speaking of performance, let's talk about Bond's sex life, shall we?
She always did enjoy a good squeeze.
In the movies alone, he has an estimated 55 partners, which is far more than the average 9 lifetime partners British men claimed in 2011. Now, Bond doesn't seem like the type to protect his O-agent, and the movies and books have never depicted him ruining the moment by fumbling with a condom. 64.9% of women in his age group do provide their own contraception, but of those women, 15% use condoms. That means for the purposes of protecting against STDs, only 5 of Bond's partners are silencing his PPK, and a man's risk of getting gonorrhea from an unprotected infected partner during a one-night stand is 20%. And 20% of 50 is 10 gonorrheas! And because women are 60 to 90% likely to contract a disease from an infected super spy, he's probably left around 30 women with a quantum of discharge.
You get your clothes on. I'll buy you an ice cream.
He's also probably gotten, like, all the syphilis. Like, so much syphilis, you guys. But let's talk about unprotected sex some more. Statistically, 19 of his partners will have not used contraception during their gold fingering, and of the average 28-day menstrual cycle, there's a 6-day window of fertility. The odds of an ovulating woman getting pregnant from a single encounter are about 1 in 3. I will round that up because Bond probably has some determined sperm who swim around to his theme song. Only about 40% of unplanned pregnancies end in abortions, while the others end in a birth. Therefore, there is a near absolute chance that there is at least one single bastard Bond out there somewhere, speeding around in his little Tyke's coupe and demanding that his Nesquik be shaken, not stirred. And those are conservative estimates, because let's face it, not only has Bond definitely bedded more partners than the ones we see on screen, but women with names like Holly Goodhead and Molly Warmflash probably take a disproportionate number of sexual risks.
My name is Pussy Galore.
I must be dreaming.
So, how will Bond support his love spawn if Octopussy comes knocking about his Octo-twins? I don't know, but I guess he'll definitely wish he kept a couple of those cars intact. Throughout the course of the films, Bond has been behind the wheel of unique cars, from a 1935 Bentley to a 1989 Ford Bronco. Assuming they were kept in average, non-bullet riddled condition, a collection of all the cars Bond has driven would be worth, according to various insurance companies and auction results, about $2.86 million today. A lot of that value is thanks to the 1963 Aston Martin DB5 Bond drives in Goldfinger and Thunderball. Only 1,021 were ever made, and one sold at auction a few years ago back for $788,000. Man, no wonder Q kept bugging Bond to keep those cars intact.
Do I need any other protection?
Only from B007, unless you bring that car back in pristine order.
Dude totally ruined his retirement/child support plan. So it's only because of careful, very selective editing that every James Bond movie isn't just 2 hours of him sitting in his crashed car, unable to move and oozing fluids from every orifice while his unwanted children demand he get up and play Candyland with them. Again!